Autumn had arrived in the small forest. The gentle sunlight covered everything with a warm golden hue. The wind moved softly through the tall branches, creating a sound as light as the earth's quiet breath. The space felt wide, yet strangely peaceful. The narrow path ahead was covered with dry leaves. They layered over one another, forming a natural carpet that carried the scent of wood. In the distance, maple trees glowed with red tones. Yellow and red leaves blended together, as if the forest was wearing a new coat. A nearby lake reflected the clear autumn sky. Everything slowed down and softened, as if time itself wished to rest a little before winter arrived. The autumn forest always carried a unique kind of beauty, a beauty that made everything around it slow down and soften. The narrow path leading into the forest was covered with golden leaves. The thick layer of leaves formed a soft carpet, stretching along each small curve of the trail. Whenever the wind blew, the leaves trembled slightly, creating a gentle rustling sound. The sound of the wind passing through the branches above felt like a quiet breath from the sky. The bright red maple leaves added warmth to the entire forest. The golden oak leaves blended with the red tones, making the surroundings resemble a painting created with the softest shades of autumn. A faint scent of tree resin drifted through the air, carrying a hint of sweetness, a mild sharpness, and a familiar warmth. It was a scent that could only be fully felt when autumn arrived. Near the edge of the forest lay a silent lake. Its surface was as still as a broad mirror reflecting the clear blue autumn sky. The soft sunlight mixed with the cool blue tones, making the water glow gently. When the wind passed, tiny ripples appeared, causing the reflection to waver as if it were smiling. A few small birds, the last ones of the season, moved across the sky. Their calls were distant, thin, and gentle. Those fragile sounds rose and faded, like a quiet farewell before the birds left for warmer places. The air in the forest carried a light early autumn chill. The cold was not sharp, not uncomfortable. It merely touched the skin as a reminder that summer had passed and winter was drawing near. The coolness mixed with the lingering warmth of sunlight created a perfect balance throughout the forest. Each breeze held the distinct flavor of autumn. There was the scent of dry leaves, the scent of moist earth, the subtle aroma of sap from tall trunks. All of them blended into a clear and comforting atmosphere. Standing within the forest, one could hear every small sound. The dry leaves brushing against one another, the slight movement of branches, the wind slipping through the layers of foliage, and sometimes just a very soft silence that felt as though the forest was holding its breath. Along the path, sunlight filtered through the gaps between the leaves, forming warm golden patches on the ground. These patches moved gently with each breeze, shrinking and expanding like soft rhythms of breathing. The light of late afternoon grew softer, covering everything with a mellow glow like honey. Farther away, the maple groves looked like they were burning with red hues. When the wind grew stronger, waves of red leaves drifted down, moving through the air like dancing petals. They fell in abundance, but never felt sad. Instead, they offered a peaceful reminder that each season carried its own beauty. On the lake's surface, fallen leaves floated quietly, spinning slowly before settling. Small ripples guided the leaves a little farther before letting them rest wherever they wished. Beneath the water, tiny fish swam close to the surface. Their shadows shifted gently and gracefully. The scene was simple, yet striking in its calmness. In the air, one could hear the faint sound of squirrels gathering acorns. They ran along branches, their footsteps so light that one might miss the sound if not paying attention. The cool air made the breath of every creature in the forest more defined. Each breath blended into the thin breeze and dissolved softly into the air. Autumn gave the forest its own rhythm. Not too fast, not too slow. Just enough to guide anyone who entered toward a sense of ease. One could stand still and listen to the wind, sit down and watch the leaves fall, or simply take a deep breath to feel autumn touching every sense. The narrow path led deeper into the forest, with light and shadow weaving together, forming a trail that felt like it was guiding travelers to a secret, peaceful place. Each step seemed to bring one closer to the heartbeat of nature. The vast space never felt distant. Instead, it felt welcoming, as though the forest invited people to step in and find their own quiet. Everything in the autumn forest moved in harmony. No sound overpowered another. No color stood too bright. Every motion was soft. The forest felt like a living painting, but not a still one. It changed with every second, every breath of wind, every leaf that drifted down, and that slow change brought a natural sense of calm. The beauty of the autumn forest was not only in what the eyes could see, it was also in the sounds, the scents, and the gentle chill that wrapped around anyone standing within it. All of those elements came together to create a space perfect for soothing the mind, allowing every listener to relax gradually and let their breath become deeper and softer, following the rhythm of the forest itself. After passing the narrow path covered with golden leaves and hearing the wind slide through the bright red maple branches, one would see a small wooden house hidden among the autumn forest, as if it had been here for a long time, waiting for a peaceful moment like today. The old roof, made of weathered pine shingles, slightly curved in some places, gave the house a warm and familiar charm. From the chimney, white smoke rose slowly and mixed with the late afternoon mist, like a gentle sign that a fire was burning inside, spreading warmth through every corner. The scent of pine wood drifted around the house and blended with the light breeze, creating a clean, pleasant fragrance that was unique to wooden cabins in deep forests. The wooden boards on the porch produced a soft sound under each step, like a small greeting from the house to anyone who approached. The window glass was slightly blurred by the pleasant autumn cold, with thin layers of mist softening the warm light coming from inside. Through the foggy glass, one could see warm glows touching the autumn decorations, making the small room look wrapped in a honey-colored softness. Inside the house was a small world filled with the gentle tones of autumn. On the wooden shelf near the door were pumpkins of different sizes, their warm orange tones resting beside bright yellow chrysanthemums glowing under soft lamplight. Pressed leaves framed in wooden borders hung on the wall, each leaf carrying a different shape, like small memories of the forest kept for chilly days. The scent of pine wood inside the house mixed with dried flowers and a faint hint of resin, creating a warm fragrance drifting gently through the air. In the corner, beside the large window, stood a big armchair covered in thick, soft fabric with a beige wool blanket folded neatly on top. It looked inviting, as if ready to welcome anyone who wished to sit down and enjoy the calm. The window beside the chair faced the forest, allowing the golden evening light to pass through the leaves and shine against the glass, creating delicate streams of warm light touching each object inside. Outside, the breeze carried a few falling maple leaves across the window pane, leaving graceful movements behind. From within the house, the scene looked like a living painting, slowly shifting with every second. The wooden floor felt warmer thanks to the steady heat from the fireplace. One could sense the warmth rising from beneath their feet, blending with each breath. Small candles placed on wooden shelves made the light shimmer softly. The fire crackled gently, adding its slow rhythm to the wind outside, creating a calm, soothing harmony. Everything formed a warm atmosphere that brought an immediate sense of safety. On it stood a vase of yellow chrysanthemums, a few old fabric-bound books, and a steaming cup of tea, as if the owner had only just stepped away. The light from the oil lamp illuminated the cup, making the rising steam resemble small clouds drifting in the calm air. Sitting in the armchair and pulling the blanket closer, one could hear the house's subtle sounds blending together. The faint wind from the forest, the soft fall of leaves, the gentle crackling of fire, all quiet, all tender, as if not wanting to disturb the peace. The house wasn't large, but every object inside was placed thoughtfully, creating a comfortable and slightly nostalgic atmosphere. The autumn decorations were simple yet harmonious, making anyone entering feel as though they were stepping into the heart of the season. Within this wooden house, one could still hear the wind passing through leaves outside, yet feel the warmth of the room embracing them. This contrast created a remarkable balance. Autumn existed both outside and inside, but inside it was gentler. It appeared through pumpkins, chrysanthemums, misted windows, and the soft smell of warm wood. These details made the house a perfect refuge in the middle of the changing forest. Under the warm golden light, everything softened. Nothing felt sharp or too bright. Every edge seemed round, warm, and friendly. Even the armchair had a curved backrest, shaped to hold the body gently. The house seemed to know how to soothe anyone who entered it, slowing every breath, easing every thought, and guiding the mind into a calm rhythm. Looking outside, the light grew softer as the day ended. The last leaves of the afternoon fell in complete silence. The forest and the house felt as if they were settling into a tranquil evening together. This feeling made one want to sit longer, wrap themselves in the soft blanket, and let their breath move in harmony with the gentle rhythm of the wooden house. In that warm wooden house lived a small cat named Mew, a quiet little presence that brought a gentle softness to the entire space. Mew's fur was so soft that touching it felt like brushing against a small cloud. Its brownish gold color blended with the tones of autumn, making the cat look like a natural part of the forest even when resting indoors. When Miu sat by the window, its fur reflected the afternoon light and created a warm, pleasant glow. Miu loved curling into a small circle wherever the sunlight touched, as if it wanted to keep a piece of the afternoon for itself. The cat had a special fondness for the late-day sun. Whenever the light grew softer, Miu would quietly find its favorite warm spot, lie down slowly, and close its eyes. As if that moment was the gentlest time of the day. Its small ears twitched with each passing breeze outside the window. Even while resting, Miu enjoyed listening to the wind moving through the forest, the sound of leaves brushing together, and the soft movements of branches. For Miu, those were the most natural lullabies. Its footsteps were always so light that they were barely audible. When Miu moved across the wooden floor, the faint tapping resembled the sound of autumn leaves touching the ground. The cat walked slowly and calmly, yet every step had purpose, carrying a quiet curiosity. Miu often wandered around the house as if checking whether everything was still peaceful. Its soft tail swung gently with each step, and its round eyes stayed wide open to observe both new and familiar things. Even after living in the house for a long time, Miu kept the same curiosity it had on its first day. When hearing the crackling fire in the fireplace, Miu often paused and tilted its head, as if trying to understand each tiny sound. Whenever a new autumn decoration appeared, such as a fresh chrysanthemum or a newly framed leaf, Miu would approach, sniff lightly, study it carefully, then move on. Its curiosity was quiet and never caused trouble. It was the soft, patient curiosity that matched its nature. Though Miu enjoyed exploring the house, sleeping was what it loved most. The cat could fall asleep anywhere as long as the place was soft, quiet, and slightly warm. In the morning, Miu slept on the window ledge where the first sunlight touched its fur. At noon, when the light grew stronger, Miu preferred a shaded corner near the bookshelf where the warmth from the fireplace still lingered. In the afternoon, the cat's favorite place was the armchair by the window. Miu would leap onto the chair with a gentle hop, curl up on the wool blanket, and drift into a deep sleep. Miu had charming sleeping positions. It often curled into a perfect circle, tucking its nose into its fur to stay warm. Its ears folded softly while its tail wrapped around its body like a small ribbon. Sometimes Miu slept stretched out, front paws extended forward and back paws relaxed, as though soaking up every bit of warmth. Even while sleeping, Miu listened to the house. A slightly louder sound, the wooden door opening, a leaf tapping the window, or footsteps on the floor would cause Miu to open its eyes, not in alarm but simply to make sure all was well before returning to sleep. Throughout the day, Miu changed sleeping spots depending on the light and temperature. When the air turned cooler in the late afternoon, Miu rested near the fireplace, lying long and breathing steadily as the warmth wrapped around its body. In the evening, when the oil lamp glowed softly, Miu preferred the thick rug in the center of the room, a spot neither too bright nor too warm, perfectly balanced. Each place Miu chose had its own quiet reason, and those habits gave the house a gentle rhythm. Miu's eyes were round and calm, filled with kindness. When looking at someone, The cat did so not only with its eyes but with its entire gentle posture. Its gaze was never sharp but soft like its fur. Sometimes, when someone stroked Miyu's head, the cat blinked slowly, the feline way of saying, "I trust you." Its small pink nose was always warm. Whenever Miyu sniffed something, its nose moved like a tiny flower trembling in the breeze. Its long whiskers spread outward, responding to each shift of air and movement in the room. These whiskers helped the cat sense the world with great delicacy, even when half asleep. Miyu had a very soft voice. It was not the loud voice of a demanding cat. Miyu's meow was gentle like the forest wind, a small sound used only to show it wanted to be closer or wanted a little affection. When someone stroked its back, Miyu arched slightly and purred steadily. That purr, combined with the crackling fire, the wind outside, and the sound of falling leaves, created a soothing lullaby. In the warm wooden house, Miyu was a perfect piece of autumn. Its golden brown fur resembled fallen leaves. Its calm habits matched the slow rhythm of leaves drifting outside. Its gentle eyes held the quiet warmth of afternoon sunlight, and its deep, peaceful sleep mirrored the stillness of the season. Miyu did not just live in the house. It gave the house breath, made autumn feel fuller, and softened every moment of the day. And in those times when it curled up to sleep, the entire house seemed to pause to protect that quiet peace. Miyu's new day began gently, quietly, and filled with the breath of autumn drifting into every corner of the warm wooden house. When the first sunlight slipped through the thin curtain, the soft light touched Miyu's brownish gold fur and made the cat stir. Miyu didn't open its eyes immediately. It simply shifted slightly to let the sunlight run along its back before slowly opening its round eyes, still hazy from sleep. The autumn light was not harsh or hurried. It arrived softly, as if inviting Miyu to wake up with its gentle warmth. Miyu stretched long, its back arched, front paws reached forward lazily, and its tail extended behind before giving a light flick. Each stretch made Miyu's fur puff up a bit and then settle again like a small cloud changing its shape in golden light. After stretching, Miyu sat up, blinked slowly, then yawned long enough to reveal its tiny teeth. The soft sound blended with the breeze outside and created the opening rhythm of a peaceful new day. Fully awake, Miyu hopped gently onto the wooden floor. The sound of its paws touching the wood was faint, like the sound of autumn leaves landing on the ground. Miyu liked the coolness of the morning floor. It walked with calm, steady steps, as if savoring the moment between sleep and wakefulness. As always, Miyu began its familiar morning routine by lifting its nose and taking a deep breath. A scent of herbal tea drifted from the kitchen, where its owner was preparing breakfast. The fragrance was light, clean, and warm, soothing the crisp morning air. Miyu loved this smell. Each time it sensed it, Miyu's ears lifted slightly in contentment. The cat walked more slowly toward the kitchen, wanting to prolong the pleasure of the scent. The smell of pumpkin bread baking mingled with the tea. It was a favorite autumn treat of Miyu's owner. The aroma of pumpkin, cinnamon, and honey created a warm sweetness that drifted through every corner of the house. When Miu reached the kitchen doorway, the scent became stronger, making the cat close its eyes for a moment to enjoy it. Miu didn't eat the bread, but it loved its scent because it was part of the home Miu loved, a sign that the new day had truly begun. On its way through the kitchen, Miu paused when it saw its owner standing by the stove. The cat approached and touched the owner's hand gently with its soft head. That was Miu's morning greeting. No loud meowing, no jumping, just a soft touch that meant, "I'm awake." Miu's owner always responded with a gentle stroke from Miu's forehead down its back. When receiving the touch, Miu blinked slowly and flicked its tail in satisfaction, leaning against the owner's leg for a brief moment. After the affectionate greeting, Miu continued exploring the house. It walked toward the large window beside the armchair. The morning sun rose a little higher, filtering through the maple leaves outside and shimmering on the window glass. Miu hopped onto the windowsill, sat down, and looked out. The autumn forest was still as sweet as when Miu had slept. Golden leaves drifted through the air. A gentle wind brushed past the glass, and the distant lake sparkled like a wide mirror. That morning scene always made Miu feel safe. After watching the view long enough, Miu moved to the big armchair it loved. The cat sniffed the wool blanket draped on the chair. The warmth from the previous night still lingered slightly, making Miu press its nose against it once more. But Miu didn't lie down yet. Morning was the time it preferred to roam. Miu stepped off the chair and walked toward the autumn decorations on the wooden shelf. It examined the pumpkins, the chrysanthemums, and the framed pressed leaves, sniffing each item lightly as if greeting every little piece of autumn living inside the house. Then Miu approached the fireplace. The fire had not been relit, but a faint warmth from the previous night remained. Miu touched the rug beside it. The rug was slightly warm, and the cat tapped it again with pleasure before sitting and imagining the familiar crackling sounds that would come later in the day. When the tea kettle began to hum in the kitchen and the smell of warm tea thickened, Miu returned to sit beside its owner's feet. It stayed there quietly, close enough to feel the heat from the stove but never in the way. Occasionally, Miu tapped its owner's leg to say it was still there, and the owner always reached down to stroke its head. The whole morning unfolded like that, slow, soft, filled with warm breaths. For Miu, every morning was lovely, but autumn mornings were the loveliest, because the light was gentle, because the tea smelled sweet, because pumpkin bread baked softly in the oven, and because Miu always started the day with a gentle stroke on the head. That was what the little cat loved most about every morning in this wooden house. After greeting the morning and enjoying the familiar scents drifting from the small kitchen, Miu began its daily walk around the house, a routine the cat never skipped even once. The wooden cabin wasn't large, but to Miu, every corner carried something interesting: a scent, a sound, a shift of light that made the cat want to explore it again. Miu walked slowly, each step light as an autumn leaf brushing the floor. Its round eyes followed the tiny patches of sunlight shimmering on the wooden boards. Whenever a sunbeam slipped through the curtain and landed on the floor, Miu paused, touched the light with its paw, and tested it as if trying to understand the warmth hidden beneath. After a few more calm steps, Miyu reached the bookshelf, one of its favorite places. The pine bookshelf was tall and filled with old books arranged neatly. The scent of aging paper mixed with the woody smell, creating a fragrance Miyu could recognize instantly. The cat gave a small hop and landed on the lower shelf. The wood made a faint, welcoming sound. Miyu climbed to the next shelf, then the next, graceful and balanced, never knocking anything over. Once at its chosen spot, the cat reached out with a soft paw and touched the edge of a slightly protruding book. The texture of the paper amused Miyu. It tilted its head, examining the open pages, then leaned closer to inhale the scent of old paper. To Miyu, this smell gave the house a soul. The cat tapped one of the exposed pages lightly. It didn't push hard, just enough to feel the slight roughness and hear a tiny rustle, a sound similar to autumn leaves brushing against one another. When finished exploring, Miyu stepped back, curled its tail for balance, and leaped down onto the thick rug below. The landing was so gentle it barely made a sound. The cream-colored rug was thick and soft, placed at the center of the living room. When Miyu's paws sank into its surface, the cat shivered softly at the warm, cloud-like feel. Miyu rolled once on the rug, marking it as one of its cherished spots before standing again. But the morning still held more to see. With calm curiosity, Miyu walked toward the large window beside the armchair. The sunlight had deepened into a warm gold, and outside, the leaves began to fall more steadily. Miyu hopped onto the windowsill and sat down, wrapping its tail around its body, gazing into the autumn forest painted in shades of gold. Maple leaves drifted downward gently. Each leaf descended differently, some spinning like dancers, some falling straight and firm, some caught by the breeze and carried far across the air toward the shimmering lake. Miyu watched every leaf, eyes following each movement from the moment it left the branch to the moment it touched the ground. When a larger leaf fell close to the window, Miyu raised a paw and pressed softly against the glass, as though wanting to keep it in sight longer. But the leaf continued falling, and Miyu simply watched, its ears tilting slightly in quiet longing. The breeze outside grew stronger, sending more leaves flying. They passed the window in golden, orange, and red streams, blending into a soft dance. Miyu stayed still, listening to the whispering wind, the gentle tapping of leaves against one another, and the distant calls of late-season birds. Those layered sounds formed a quiet melody Miyu never tired of. The cat sat there for a long time, as if it could watch leaves fall all day, even without making a sound. Miyu expressed its delight in its own way. Soft eyes, small ears shifting with every breeze, a tail curled neatly around its warmth. The entire cabin seemed to pause and breathe with the cat, when a sudden gust sent a swirl of leaves spinning downward. Miyu tilted its head, surprised by the beauty, then relaxed as the forest returned to its slow rhythm. Inside the house, the gentle light, the faint scent of morning, and the movement of falling leaves blended into one peaceful whole. From the windowsill, Miyu glanced at the armchair and the wool blanket below, tempted to jump down for a nap. But not yet. This morning, Miyu chose to remain, watching the leaves fall one by one, holding on to the breath of autumn just a little longer before moving on. Miyu wandered through the house in its quiet, delicate way, not rushing, not missing a single moment, and the wooden cabin, wrapped in the soft light of morning, seemed to follow each small step, keeping the gentle rhythm of autumn alive. While Miyu was still sitting on the windowsill, watching the last autumn leaves fall slowly outside, the warm wooden house began to fill with familiar late morning sounds. Miyu's owner walked to the fireplace carrying a small basket of wood prepared the night before. The scent of dry pine drifted gently through the air, blending with the lingering aroma of tea and pumpkin bread, making the room feel warmer even before the fire was lit. Miyu turned its head at the sound of wood being placed on the brick hearth. Its ears twitched slightly, recognizing the routine it always waited for. When the owner opened the fireplace door and arranged the logs inside, the morning light shone on the grain of the wood, giving it a soft golden color. A moment later, a match struck, its faint sound echoing in the quiet room. The first flame flickered, then slowly climbed up the logs. Miyu noticed the small burst of light. The cat hopped off the windowsill and walked toward the fireplace, drawn by the glow. Soon, the seamed, soft crackling of burning wood filled the room. Each tiny pop sounded warm and familiar, like a whisper that had accompanied many past autumns. The crackling made the cabin feel alive, yet peaceful. The flame grew brighter, casting a golden-orange light. It reflected onto the wooden walls, creating shimmering shapes like tree shadows swaying in a breeze. The shifting light danced with each spark from the fire, giving the room a magical storybook warmth. Miyu sat down near the fire, its eyes wide, reflecting the flickering glow. The flame always fascinated the little cat. Miyu watched the moving light for a moment before the owner gently petted its head and returned to her seat. As warmth spread from the fireplace, the air in the room softened, wrapping everything like a thick blanket. Miyu felt the rising heat, just enough to relax its small body. The cat stepped closer and chose a spot on the soft rug right in front of the fire. Miyu circled once, finding the perfect position, then eased itself down. Its front legs stretched forward, hind legs curled slightly, and tail wrapped loosely around its side. The brownish gold fur began to glow as the firelight reflected on it, making Miyu look as though it carried a bit of the flame on its coat. With eyes closed, Miyu listened to the soft pops of burning wood. Each time the flame flared, the warmth shifted, and Miyu sensed it even without looking. The cat breathed deeply, taking in the scent of burning pine, a smell that had always made Miyu feel safe, like the house was embracing it with invisible arms. Miyu's owner sat on the armchair, placed her cup of tea on the table, and looked at the cat resting peacefully by the fire. The scene made the room feel complete, as if every autumn morning was meant to be drawn with firelight, a soft rug, and a small cat relaxing in the warmth. The logs continued burning steadily, glowing brighter and breaking apart with delicate sparks. The light filled every corner, making the waiter, armchair, the wooden walls, the books, and the autumn decorations shimmer softly. Miu curled its legs again and relaxed deeper into the rug. The cat didn't fall asleep. It simply melted into the warmth, letting its breath slow to match the crackling fire. Each sound from the logs was like a lullaby, lulling Miu into a drowsy, dreamy state. On the wall behind it, Miu's shadow danced with the firelight, small and gentle, moving with each quiet breath. In that moment, time seemed to slow. Only light, warmth, and the sound of wood burning remained, blending into a soft autumn morning Miu could stay in for hours. And so Miu lay there, completely relaxed, enjoying the perfect peace the wooden house and the glowing fire created. When the fireplace was burning steadily and warmth had spread throughout the room, the wooden house felt so peaceful that time seemed to slow down. Miu's owner lifted her warm cup of tea and walked toward the reading corner by the window where the firelight and the soft late morning sun blended into a gentle golden glow. The armchair was pulled closer to the fireplace to keep the cold from sneaking in through the forest wind. On the small table beside the chair stood a vase of yellow chrysanthemums, a few thick fabric-bound books, and a steaming cup of tea, releasing threads of mist like soft smoke. Miu was still on the rug, but when it heard the chair being moved and the book placed on the table, the cat opened its eyes, pupils narrowing into small, bright circles. Its body shifted slightly, ears turning toward the sound, as if Miu knew this was the most peaceful moment of the day, the reading corner moment. The owner sat down, placed the wool blanket over her lap, and opened the book she had left unfinished the day before. The gentle rustle of pages sounded like wind brushing autumn leaves outside. At the first turn of the page, Miu stood up, stretched long, and walked slowly toward the chair. Its steps were so light that they barely made a sound. When Miu reached the chair, it looked up once, then hopped onto the seat with perfect precision. The chair dipped slightly under the cat's weight, and Miu immediately moved to its usual spot right on the owner's lap. It curled into a soft ball, placing its front paws on the blanket and relaxing completely. Warmth from the owner's legs spread through Miu's body, mixing with the heat from the fireplace in front of them, creating a comfort the cat never resisted. The owner stroked Miu's back gently once, a small affectionate greeting to her quiet companion. Miu blinked slowly, stretched slightly, then let out a soft sigh, as if it had found the perfect place for the cold morning. With Miu settled, the owner resumed reading. The soft turning of the pages blended into the crackling of the fire, forming a calm melody unique to the wooden cabin in autumn. Each page moved like a breeze through the trees, measured, steady, and soothing. The owner's breathing was slow and even. Miu felt each rise and fall beneath its body. When she inhaled, Miu lifted slightly. When she exhaled, they both settled deeper into the chair. The rhythm calmed the cat, its ears lowering, tail curling around its body, and its entire form melting softly into warmth. The scent of hot tea drifted across the room. It was the tea she always prepared in autumn, apple cinnamon honey tea. The aroma of cinnamon mixed with the sweetness of honey and the gentle tartness of apple, rising in thin clouds that resembled light morning mist. Though Miyu didn't drink tea, it always reacted to this scent. Whenever cinnamon filled the air, Miyu's ears relaxed, its eyes narrowed gently, as if wrapped in an invisible blanket of fragrance. Miyu rested on her lap for a long time, head nestled near her knee, whiskers trembling with each slow breath. Sometimes the cat adjusted its paws, but quickly settled again once finding the softest spot. The firelight reflected off Miyu's fur, creating small, shimmering patches that danced with the flames. From this angle, Miyu looked like a soft golden cushion outlined by warm firelight. The owner occasionally paused her reading to take a sip of tea. When she lifted the cup, the steam rose higher, sending the scent of apple and cinnamon across the room. Miyu opened its eyes briefly, its brownish eyes glowing in the firelight, then closed them again as if savoring the aroma in its own way. The steady turning of pages continued. Miyu listened to every sound, and each tiny rustle brought comfort. It was the sound of unrushed mornings. Mornings where the cabin needed nothing more than a fire, a book, a cup of hot tea, and a small cat curled on warm legs. Outside the window, the wind still blew softly, and leaves drifted down one by one. Inside, firelight, the scent of tea, and the owner's steady breathing created a warm silence. In that space, Miyu drifted into a half-sleep. Not fully asleep because it liked the sound of pages. Not fully awake because its body had relaxed completely. It simply floated between two gentle worlds, the world of falling leaves outside and the warm world atop the owner's lap. And so the morning passed slowly and quietly. No words were spoken. None were needed. The reading corner, the open book, the steaming tea, and the curled-up cat were enough to complete the autumn scene inside the peaceful wooden house. When the afternoon began to tilt, and the light inside the wooden house shifted into a deeper golden shade, Miyu slowly opened its eyes. The cat had rested on its owner's lap for a long, peaceful while, lulled by the turning of pages and the warm scent of tea, but now something outside was calling to it. The soft wind brushing through the trees, the faint rustle of leaves, and the glow of the approaching sunset drew Miyu's attention. It lifted its head, ears perked, then gently brushed its face against the wool blanket before standing up. The owner smiled as Miyu stepped off her lap, giving the cat a light touch on its back. A small wish for a calm little journey outside. Miyu hopped down onto the rug, landing silently, its golden brown fur catching the last traces of sunlight like a warm autumn ember. The cat walked slowly toward the front door, where the wooden porch waited. When the owner opened the door slightly, a cool breeze drifted in, carrying the scent of dry leaves, tree resin, and the crisp air of a fading afternoon. Miyu stepped onto the porch and immediately heard the familiar sound beneath its paws. The wooden boards let out a soft creak, a gentle greeting the porch always offered each time Miyu came outside in the late afternoon. The porch had darkened with age and weather, and the boards bent slightly under weight, producing soft, rhythmic sounds. Miyu walked even slower, savoring the unique melody the porch played only for it. The autumn wind brushed across the porch roof, causing scattered yellow leaves to tremble. A large maple leaf spun and landed right in front of Miyu. The cat leaned forward, sniffed the dry scent, then touched the leaf lightly with its paw. The crisp sound made Miyu blink with delight. Miyu sat briefly, letting the cool breeze run through its fur. The chill wasn't harsh, it simply awakened the skin beneath the warm coat. Miyu closed its eyes for a few seconds, enjoying the gentle touch before stepping toward the edge of the porch. From where Miyu sat, the entire autumn forest unfolded. Bright red maples mingled with golden oaks, low shrubs had turned orange, and the distant lake reflected the sunset like a band of glowing metal. The last sunlight draped itself over the forest in a soft golden layer, as if every treetop had been brushed with warm honey. Miyu sat down, tail curled around its body, eyes wide open to capture every movement. The last leaves of the season drifted downward slowly, gently, like the forest breathing. A few small birds crossed the sky, leaving short chirps before disappearing into the trees. Miyu followed their path, head tilted slightly, whiskers trembling. The cat inhaled deeply, catching the scent of dry leaves blending with damp soil and faint moisture from the lake, a perfume unique to autumn, especially at sunset when everything slows. The wind moved through the branches, creating a whisper, like a distant story being told. Miyu listened closely, catching every small vibration. When the breeze strengthened, several leaves swirled in circles and brushed against the porch. One large leaf touched Miyu's paw and settled beside it. The cat examined it quietly before leaning forward to take in its scent. The sunset deepened into amber, then into soft pink along the horizon. Miyu watched the sky like a giant painting being created in real time. Each passing moment brought a new color. The cat didn't move. It didn't chase leaves or birds. It simply remained there, calm and still, enjoying the autumn moment without asking for anything more. On the wooden porch, Miyu became part of the scenery. The breeze brushed its fur, the light wrapped around its small figure, and the sounds from the forest blended with the soft creaking beneath its paws. The entire afternoon slipped into a perfect silence. No words, no calls, only nature, light, and a quiet little cat curled inside a moment meant just for it. And Miyu stayed there for a very long time, unwilling to leave, as if the sunset was so beautiful it might stay forever if the cat kept watching a little longer. As the sunset continued spreading across the forest, Miyu remained on the porch, eyes wide, watching every small movement of wind and leaves. After a moment, the wind shifted, carrying a large yellow leaf that spun in the air and fell right beside Miyu's paw. The leaf landed with a soft, crisp sound, like a playful invitation from autumn sent just for the little cat. Miyu leaned forward, lowered its head, and reached out a small paw to touch the edge of the leaf. The gentle tap made the leaf shift slightly, turning to one side. Miyu tilted its head, studying it, then tapped once more. This time the leaf slid farther, making a faint rustle that made Miyu's eyes brighten. A breeze swept through again, cool and soft, lifting the leaf away. Miyu stood up, tail swaying left and right as it prepared to follow. The cat did not rush. Every movement was slow and graceful, as if it wished to keep the quiet rhythm of the evening intact. When the wind pushed the leaf toward the porch edge, Miu followed with steps light as drifting feathers. The leaf rose again, spun twice in the air, and fell into the small yard. Miu watched it land, the dry sound clear beneath the breeze. Suddenly, another gust lifted the leaf. Miu ran after it for a few steps, its golden brown fur catching the warm sunset glow in soft flashes. Even as it chased, Miu stayed calm, no haste, no pounce, full of energy. The cat moved simply because the moment asked for play, but always in a gentle, relaxed rhythm. The leaf swirled near the steps. Miu tapped it again, sending it spinning faster. The cat stepped back slightly, fascinated by the small dance it had created. Another breeze carried the leaf farther, toward the edge of the forest. Miu followed only a short distance, stopping once it reached a comfortable spot. The cat didn't intend to chase endlessly. It only wanted to feel the movement of the leaf, to watch how the wind shaped its path. Miu sat down in the middle of the yard, tail wrapped neatly around its body, and watched the leaf drift away, eventually landing among a cluster of dry leaves. The cat remained still, completely content, its whiskers moving slightly with each soft breath. Another leaf fell beside Miu, smaller, paler. Miu lowered its head, sniffed the dry scent, then pushed it back and forth gently with a paw. The movement was simple, but enough to let the cat enjoy the textures and sounds of autumn. The wind continued to blow, sending more leaves drifting across the yard. Miu followed them with its eyes, but chose only the first leaf to play with. The rest fell around the cat, forming a small golden circle. The sunset deepened into amber, then into a soft pink that colored Miu's fur with gentle warmth. The cat sat quietly, ears dipping slightly with every breeze. Leaves lifted, danced, and fell again, creating a peaceful repetition. Wind blowing, leaves rising, leaves falling. And Miu was the still point in that soft cycle. A leaf dropped onto Miu's head. The cat twitched an ear, making the leaf slip off and land in front. Miu tapped it once, then left it where it fell, as if knowing the playtime was coming to its natural end. The cat turned toward the porch. The door remained slightly open, warm light spilling onto the wooden boards. Miu stretched, long and slow, then walked back toward the house. Before stepping in, it paused and looked back at the forest. The wind was still gentle, the leaves still falling, and the sky fading into a pale violet. Miu held the moment for a little longer, as if saving it inside its small memory. Then the cat turned and went inside. The play with golden leaves had ended. The autumn afternoon was fading, but the calm remained in every soft step Miu took. When Miu returned inside after playing with the golden leaf, its owner was already standing at the door with a light scarf over her shoulders. She looked down at Miu with a gentle smile and asked, as she always did when the afternoon softened, "Shall we go for a walk, Miu?" The cat didn't answer with words, but its lifted tail and flicking ears were more than enough. The door opened wider, letting the last warm streak of sunset spill into the house like soft orange paint. Miyu stepped out first, then paused to wait as the owner locked the door. When both stood on the porch, she adjusted her scarf while Miyu sat quietly beside her, gazing into the forest where evening was falling. The path ahead of them looked like a long ribbon made of golden leaves. Countless leaves had fallen during the day, forming a soft, thick carpet underfoot. The owner stepped down first, Miyu followed, and together they entered the peaceful forest. Under their feet, the leaves rustled, shay, shay, in a gentle, steady rhythm, creating their own soundtrack for the evening walk. Miyu stepped lightly, paws sinking into the soft layer of leaves, each touch making a crisp, delicate sound. Sometimes the cat stopped to look up at the glowing orange canopy, then continued again when the owner caught up. She walked slowly, so Miyu never had to hurry. Each step pressed down on the damp leaves left by a light midday rain. The smell of moist earth blended with fallen leaves floated through the air, forming the unmistakable fragrance of autumn, clean, woody, and slightly sweet. Miyu inhaled deeply whenever the breeze carried that scent. The cat didn't understand it fully, but it always recognized the smells that made its heart calm. The wind carried the forests. It wasn't strong, just enough to make the last leaves tremble on thin branches. The sound of those dry leaves whispering to each other created a soft zao-exat, like a bedtime story nature told before sinking into winter. The owner reached down so Miyu could brush against her leg. The cat rubbed its head gently on her ankle, then led the way again. Sometimes Miyu ran a little ahead, sat in the middle of the path, and turned back as if urging her to catch up. She only smiled and followed. The forest dimmed slowly. Though the sun had dipped behind the trees, the soft blue-gray sky allowed them to see every leaf drifting down. Miyu watched a large oak leaf spiral downward, then dashed toward it, only to sniff it once before moving on. Some sections of the path were still wet from the rain, and the scent of damp soil became richer in a small hollow where the wind gathered. Miyu stopped, breathed in deeply, and closed its eyes. The owner let out a small laugh. To her, Miyu looked like a tiny sage, appreciating the world. When they reached a part of the path lined with maples, the wind grew stronger, lifting leaves into little whirlwinds. Miyu leaped into the middle of them, head turning left and right, trying to follow them all. A leaf brushed Miyu's ear, making the cat flinch slightly before relaxing again. The owner watched, her eyes filled with affection. Walking with Miyu was more beautiful than any scenery. The forest opened into a small clearing where they could see the lower part of the woods. Shrubs had turned deep red, some birch trees had already shed their leaves, and the distant lake had darkened, reflecting the last traces of daylight. Miyu reached the clearing first, sat down, and took in the entire view. The owner stood quietly behind it. They said nothing. There was no need. The forest spoke for them through the zao-sack of dry leaves stirred by the wind. Miyu turned back, looking up at the owner. She bent down and gently stroked its head. Miyu lifted its face, eyes glowing with the fading light. They remained like that for a long moment, letting the breeze move her hair and ripple through Miu's soft fur. As the sky darkened, she gently picked Miu up. The cat relaxed into her chest. They walked home together, the path still whispering beneath their steps. The smell of earth, the sound of wind, the rustle of leaves all became part of the tender memory of this autumn walk. A quiet, slow, warm moment shared between a woman and her little cat. After walking the long leaf-covered path with its owner, Miu was gently set down to freely explore the forest. The remaining daylight softened into a warm golden hue, covering the forest like a large blanket nature used to embrace everything before nightfall. Miu stepped lightly, paws sinking into the soft leaves, each movement creating a quiet rustle. Its eyes widened with curiosity, as if the forest held countless stories waiting to be discovered. As Miu moved deeper, it noticed a quick motion near the trunk of an old oak tree. A brown squirrel was gathering acorns, holding each nut carefully between its front paws with swift and practiced motions. Miu stopped, sat down, tail curled, watching with gentle curiosity. The squirrel eventually noticed Miu and froze, standing upright with wide eyes. But sensing no threat in the calm cat, it returned to its work. Miu observed every movement, tilting its head from time to time, mesmerized by the tiny sounds, acorns dropping, leaves crackling, small claws brushing against bark. Leaving the squirrel behind, Miu wandered toward a low branch where a small sparrow perched, grooming its feathers. The bird fluffed its wings, pulling and straightening each feather carefully. Miu sat below, quietly watching the delicate ritual. A tiny feather floated down. Miu touched it softly with one paw, then let it lie. A gentle wind swept through the trees. The sparrow hopped to a higher branch, and the forest fell silent for a moment, as if holding its breath. Then a stronger gust came rushing from the direction of the lake. Miu's ears perked. The wind shook the treetops, then the lower branches, then the forest floor. Suddenly, thousands of golden leaves broke free and fell all at once. A true rain of golden leaves began. Leaves swirled, dipped, spun, and drifted, creating a breathtaking wave of color. The sound was like warm, dry rain, soft, steady, comforting. Miu stood in the center of the forest floor, eyes wide, reflecting the golden glow of sunset scattered through the falling leaves. Some brushed against its head and back before settling on the ground. Miu didn't move. It simply let the moment wash over it, absorbing the scent of dry leaves, earth, and wind. The squirrel darted for shelter. The sparrow flew higher, but Miu stood still, as if it too were a leaf caught in the wind's embrace. When the gust quieted, only a few leaves fell gently. Miu watched them drift downward, then stepped forward, paws sinking into an even thicker carpet of leaves. Each step produced a new soft rustle, like echoes of the leaf rain. When the owner called softly, Miu turned, eyes shimmering as though it had witnessed something magical. Then the little cat walked back to her, carrying within its warm golden fur the quiet story the autumn forest had just shared. After After the golden leaf rain settled and the forest returned to its soft quiet, the owner continued walking slowly down the path while Miu wandered freely ahead. The trail opened into a clearing where the lake revealed itself wide, unmoving and smooth as a giant mirror. The last light of the day lay across the water like a deep golden cloth. Miu paused the moment it saw the lake. The cat walked toward the shore, paws sinking into the damp earth, still holding the scent of a light midday rain. The owner stayed back, letting Miu explore the peaceful scene in its own quiet way. Miu lowered its head and saw its reflection on the still surface. The image was framed by the forest behind, where the red and yellow leaves mirrored themselves into warm patches of color. Miu tilted its head left, then right, fascinated by the small ripples caused when it reached out with a paw and touched the water's edge. A tiny ring spread outward, bending its reflection for a moment, before everything returned to stillness. A breeze brushed across the lake, making the light ripple in golden threads. Miu stepped closer, listening to the faint sound of water tapping the shore, soft, slow, and steady, like the lake breathing. The cat sat down at the edge, tail curled neatly, eyes wide as it watched the sky reflect below its paws. Leaves drifted onto the water, floating like tiny boats. Miu's eyes softened, body relaxing as though soothed by the quiet scene. The owner sat nearby without saying a word. There was no need for words. The lake spoke in ripples. The wind whispered in the trees. For a long while, Miu watched the reflection, sometimes lowering its face closer, sometimes observing the gentle movements beneath the surface. A small fish swam by, creating a faint shimmer. Miu leaned forward but didn't touch again, only watched with calm curiosity. The sun disappeared behind the trees, the sky turned lavender, then soft blue, and the lake darkened but remained smooth as ever. Miu stood, stretched slowly, then looked back at the owner. She bent down and stroked the cat's head. Miu nuzzled her hand, then gazed at the lake one last time, as if wanting to remember the moment. A quiet autumn evening, a mirror-like lake, and its own reflection fading into twilight. The gentle sound of water against the shore continued, a slow rhythm like nature breathing. Miu sat beside its owner, both watching the lake until the sky turned fully dark. A simple moment, but one warm enough to stay in the heart. As the sky shifted into its softest shades of purple and orange, the lake grew quieter and the reflections deepened into calm blue. Miu stood, stretched slowly, then turned to the owner as if signaling that it was time to leave. The owner brushed a stray leaf off Miu's warm fur, and together they followed the small path leading home. The golden light of the fading sun clung gently to the fallen leaves, making the ground seem to glow. Each step created a soft rustle, blending with the breeze drifting through the trees. It wasn't fully dark, yet the day was no longer bright, just the in-between moment when everything carries a faint purple haze. Miu walked ahead, leaving tiny prints on the soft carpet of leaves, occasionally glancing back to make sure the owner was close. When she smiled, Miu continued with a small sway of its tail. The evening breeze carried a coolness through the forest. It brushed over the grasses, slid along the branches, and ruffled Miu's fur lightly. The forest opened up slowly, and Miyu caught the familiar scent of pine wood. That scent always meant home was near. The trees thinned, and a warm light appeared in the distance. A soft, golden glow resting inside the drifting mist. Miyu walked a little faster, not quite running, but with visible excitement. The owner followed, smiling at the small, eager creature leading the way. As they came closer, the wooden house emerged fully through the gentle mist. It glowed like a small lantern in the forest, with warm yellow light spilling softly from the windows. Miyu stopped for a moment, eyes shimmering. The house was more than shelter. It was warmth, comfort, the place where the fireplace crackled, where the scent of pumpkin bread lingered, where the soft blanket on the armchair always waited. The owner rested a gentle hand on Miyu's head. For a while they stood there, simply looking at the house welcoming them home. A faint whiff of smoke drifted from the chimney, mingling with pine and dry leaves, creating the familiar fragrance of autumn evenings spent in their wooden home. Miyu walked up the porch steps, pausing only to look back and make sure the owner followed. She opened the door quietly, and warmth flowed out like a soft embrace. Miyu stepped inside first, whiskers twitching at the change in temperature. The golden light inside made every autumn decoration glow, pressed leaves in their wooden frames, the lingering scent of spiced tea, and the armchair with the soft knitted blanket still waiting near the window. The owner closed the door gently. Miyu turned toward her, eyes warm and content. The cat had seen the forest, the lake, the falling leaves, the wind moving through branches, but nothing compared to the feeling of home appearing through the mist. The owner stroked Miyu's head slowly, and the cat pressed its cheek into her hand. Outside, the purple-orange sunset fell across the path, while a thin layer of mist swirled near the trees. In the middle of that fading light, the wooden house glowed softly, the only warm point in a forest preparing for night. Miyu settled on the thick rug near the door, watching the path outside one last time. The falling leaves, the shifting mist, the colors fading into blue. Then the cat curled up, letting its body sink into the warmth. The house had welcomed Miyu home, and the gentle autumn night was beginning again. When the owner and Miyu had settled back into the warmth of the wooden house, the sky outside deepened, the orange-purple glow fading gently into evening. The owner hung her scarf on the wooden hook and moved toward the kitchen, where the warm yellow light formed a soft halo over the counter. Miyu followed with slow, quiet steps, whiskers twitching as the first scents of dinner began to drift through the air. The owner prepared the evening meal, a familiar ritual of autumn nights. Miyu jumped onto a chair for a moment to watch, but soon slipped down and crawled under the table, drawn by the comforting heat spreading from the stove. A large pot of pumpkin soup simmered gently, its warm scent rising with each slow swirl of the wooden spoon. Butter, milk, pumpkin, and a hint of cinnamon blended together into a fragrance that was both sweet and soothing. Nearby, slices of bread were placed on a tray, brushed with garlic butter, then slid into the oven. Within minutes, the kitchen filled with the smell of toasted bread, crisp crust, melted butter, and a touch of herbs mingling with the scent of soup. Miu curled into a small circle under the table. The warmth from the pot spread across the floor in soft waves, wrapping around the little cat like an invisible blanket. Miu's eyes closed halfway, ears relaxed, but the cat still listened to every sound in the kitchen. The gentle tapping of the knife on the cutting board, the slow, steady stirring of the soup, the occasional crackle from the stove. The owner moved calmly, every motion unhurried. Water flowed briefly when she rinsed vegetables, then stopped. Pepper was sprinkled lightly, adding a faint, spicy note to the air. Under the table, Miu stretched, then rested its head on its paws, watching the warm light flicker above. Steam rose from the pot in soft curls, drifting toward the cat in warm breaths. The oven chimed. The owner opened the door, letting a wave of heat and the rich smell of toasted bread fill the room. Miu lifted its nose, breathing in deeply with pleasure. The bread was set on the counter to cool, and the soup was ladled into bowls. The sound of thick soup settling into ceramic made a gentle, comforting note. Roasted pumpkin seeds sprinkled onto the surface added a soft tapping sound. Miu shifted closer to the owner's feet, gathering more warmth beneath the table. Everything in the room seemed to slow. The stirring of soup, the clink of spoon against bowl, the steady rhythm of Miu's breathing. The owner sat down with her steaming bowl. Heat radiated downward, making under the table the perfect resting place. Miu glanced up sleepily, then set its head down again. The room held a quiet harmony. Warm soup, warm light, warm air, and warm company. Outside, the mist thickened and the forest darkened, but inside, the kitchen was alive with gentle sounds and comforting scents. Pumpkin soup, toasted bread, the soft tapping of utensils, the slow stirring of a spoon. And under the table lay Miu, feeling the warmth seep into its fur, making the autumn night feel complete. After the kitchen had filled with the warm scent of pumpkin soup and toasted bread, dinner passed in the gentle peace of a true autumn evening. The owner ate slowly while Miu rested under the table, opening its eyes now and then just to make sure she was still there. After clearing the dishes with soft, quiet movements, the owner turned on a small kitchen lamp, making the room glow warmly. She began preparing something familiar for chilly nights, a pot of herbal tea. Water simmered softly. Dried chamomile flowers were dropped into the pot, their fragrance spreading like a delicate breeze. Honey melted into the steam, and a few drops of lemon brightened the scent. As the tea steeped, the aroma of chamomile and honey filled the kitchen. Miu inhaled gently, whiskers twitching. The owner poured the tea into a small ceramic cup, steam rising in soft curls. Then she took out a cream-colored bowl and poured warm milk into it. Miu approached immediately, tail swaying, and began to drink in tiny, quiet sips. The warm milk relaxed the little cat further, making its ears droop and its breathing deepen. The owner sat down with her cup of tea, letting the warmth slide through her. The house was completely still, no wind, no rain, only the faint ticking of a wooden clock and the soft breath of the fireplace in the next room. Miu finished the milk, then curled up at the owner's feet. She reached down and stroked its back. The cat's soft fur radiated warmth that blended with the heat of the tea. The silence grew deeper, filled only with the gentle rhythm of Miyu's breathing. Outside, the night had settled. Mist wrapped around the porch, but inside, everything invited rest. The faint aroma of chamomile, the warmth of the wooden floor, the slow, peaceful movements of the evening. Miyu curled tighter, placing its head on its paws. The owner closed her eyes for a moment, feeling the quiet settle around them. When she opened them again, Miyu was drifting into sleep, breath steady, body warm. She took another sip of tea and let her hand rest on the cat's back. In that moment, both human and cat shared a stillness so complete it felt like the world had stopped. An autumn night, a cup of herbal tea, a bowl of warm milk, simple things, yet enough to create a perfect, wordless peace. After finishing her herbal tea and gently stroking Miyu's back, the owner rose quietly and moved to the living room, where the fireplace was already glowing. The fire burned bright but gentle, the logs crackling softly like small musical notes. Light flickered on the walls, casting warm shapes that moved slowly, as if breathing with the house. Miyu wandered into the room, drawn by the heat drifting across the floor. The owner laid down the thick, cream-colored rug, and Miyu stepped onto it, turned in a small circle, then curled into a warm ball of fur. A soft purr began, steady and low, blending perfectly with the crackling fire. The owner sat in her rocking chair beside the fireplace, picking up a basket of yarn. She chose a pale yellow strand and began to knit. The wooden needles clicked, click, click, in a gentle rhythm, each movement slow and even, each loop of yarn forming quietly in the firelight. The room felt wrapped in calm. Outside, the wind brushed past the window, but the sound was distant, softened by the walls of the wooden house. The lamp in the corner glowed warmly, lighting the autumn decorations around the room. Small pumpkins, dried flowers, pressed leaves. Miyu stretched slightly, then tightened its curl, purring all the while. Sometimes it opened its eyes just long enough to glance at the owner, confirming her presence, then drifted again. The owner knitted slowly, letting the chair rock in tiny motions. The soft creak of wood, the click of needles, and the quiet purr filled the room with a gentle music. The fireplace breathed heat into the air. A faint scent of burning wood drifted through the room, warm and comforting. The owner paused her knitting, inhaled deeply, then looked at Miyu sleeping peacefully. The cat's purr was steady, like a small heartbeat of the evening. The room held no rush, no noise, no heaviness, only warmth, only soft sounds, only the glow of fire reflected in quiet eyes. The fireplace became the heart of the home. Miyu, curled in perfect comfort, became the soft rhythm of the night, and the owner, knitting slowly beside the fire, became the gentle pulse of calm. Together, human and cat rested in a moment so peaceful it felt like time had folded into stillness. As the fire flared warmly, Miyu twitched its tail, but did not wake. The cat curled tighter, sinking deeper into sleep, letting the heat of the fire and the click, click, click of knitting lull it further into the quiet autumn night. While the fireplace continued burning warmly, spreading heat throughout the living room, the outside world had fallen into full night, wrapped in a soft, deep darkness. The owner sat in the rocking chair, knitting slowly, the needles making their quiet click, click, click in the firelight. Miu slept curled tightly on the rug, purring faintly. Then a small sound rose from the rooftop light, gentle, like fingertips tapping wood. It repeated, forming a soft rhythm. Autumn rain had begun. Miu's ear twitched. The cat opened its eyes halfway, saw the glow of the fire dancing on the walls, then closed them again, reassured by the familiar sound. Outside, the rain was not heavy, not hurried, just small drops falling steadily onto the wooden roof, creating soft, round sounds. Tap, 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 slow and soothing. The owner paused her knitting to listen. The whole house seemed to quiet itself to welcome the rain. Water trickled along the roof's edge, making a faint murmuring sound like a tiny stream whispering nearby. Light from the fire reflected on the window, illuminating the raindrops sliding down the glass. Miu shifted slightly, tail moving once before settling again. The cat blinked lazily, then surrendered to sleep under the gentle noise. The owner set down her knitting and let the rocking chair sway. Its soft creak blended perfectly with the tapping rain and the fireplace's crackle. The rain thickened just a little, coating the house like a warm blanket. The owner walked to the window, touching the cool wooden frame. Raindrops streaked down in glowing lines under the firelight. Miu lifted its head briefly to watch her, then curled tighter when she returned and sat beside it on the rug. The moment she placed her hand on its back, Miu relaxed completely. Its warmth spread into her palm. Rain continued its rhythmic tapping. Tap, tap, tap. The fire breathed soft crackles. The rocking chair whispered its slow KO. Ket. Miu purred quiet, steady, like a delicate thread vibrating. The owner closed her eyes and breathed deeply, letting every worry dissolve into the sound of rain. Miu drifted further into sleep, purr fading into a tiny breath. Outside, the forest darkened under the rain, but inside, the wooden house rested in complete peace. And in that quiet, with the rain humming on the roof and the fire glowing steadily, both human and cat seemed to sink into the calm heart of autumn night. The autumn rain continued falling steadily on the wooden roof, and the warmth from the fireplace spread across the room like an invisible blanket wrapping every small corner. The owner leaned gently against the back of the chair, her hand still resting on Miu's back, while the little cat lay close to her feet, curled up like a tiny patch of sunlight sleeping in the middle of the night. The space was now so quiet that a single breath was enough to feel peace settling into every rhythm of breathing. The whole house seemed wrapped in an absolute feeling of safety. A kind of safety that needed no proof, no measurement. Something you could feel simply by the heart. The house was warm. Not an overwhelming warmth, but a deep, slow warmth, spreading from the kitchen to the living room, from the fireplace to the wooden walls, making every step on the floor feel softer. The flame in the fireplace still burned gently, no longer bursting strongly, but still enough to cast a calm orange glow. The light flickered on the ceiling, forming slow-moving streaks like small clouds drifting across a night sky. On the rocking chair, a soft, light gray wool blanket was laid gently over the owner's legs. The blanket was warm, not heavy, not too thick, just enough to hold the body's heat and keep it there. When she pulled the edge of the blanket down a little more, the warmth spread faster, flowing over Miyu's back. The cat sensed it and nudged its head lightly against the blanket, as if to say it liked this warmth. The owner smiled, then pulled the blanket down a bit further to cover more of Miyu's body. The golden brown fur beneath the blanket looked even softer, almost melting into the glow of the fire. The fireplace glowed gently, neither too bright nor too dim. The flame seemed adjusted to just the right level so that both human and cat could feel its serenity without being overwhelmed. That soft light touched every object in the room. The armchair, the wool rug, the steaming teacup, the basket of yarn beside the chair, making everything blend into a warm, golden tone. Miyu began to breathe evenly. At first, the breaths were small, a little quick, as if adjusting after shifting position. But only a few seconds later, the breathing softened, slowed, became round and steady. Each time Miyu inhaled, its back rose, slightly under the owner's hand. Each time it exhaled, the small body sank deeper into the rug and the warm blanket. That steady breathing blended with the sound of the rain, forming a natural lullaby that seemed capable of putting the whole room to sleep. The owner placed her hand on her chest, noticing her own breathing beginning to slow to match Miyu's rhythm. All the tension of the day seemed to dissolve into the air. Rain tapped, tap, tap, on the roof. The fireplace cracked softly. Miyu breathed steadily, the small rise and fall like gentle waves. The owner breathed slowly. Each sound had its place. Each knew how to make room for the others, so the room always kept a harmony rarely found on busy days. She pulled the blanket up to her chest, then leaned her head back against the chair. Her body relaxed instantly, as if being told that this place was safe, nothing to worry about, nothing to guard against. Part of that feeling came from the quiet wooden house in the middle of the autumn forest. Part came from the fire's soft glow, and a large part came from the tiny warmth curled beside her Miyu. Miyu no longer moved. The little cat's chest rose and fell so gently, its ears drooped in relaxation, and its tail lay completely still. The purr from earlier had faded, not because Miyu was more alert, but because the cat had entered deep sleep. When cats sleep deeply, their purr often quiets, giving way to slow and steady breaths. The owner knew this, and it made her smile more, because it meant Miyu felt safe, truly safe. She ran her hand once more from the top of Miyu's head down to its back, just once, gently, enough to feel the softness of the fur and the tiny warmth radiating from the curled body. Miyu did not react except that its breathing slowed even further. Outside, the rainfall continued steadily. Not heavy, not sparse, just a thin layer of sound wrapping the house like gentle arms. Inside, the golden light and the warmth covered them both. That absolute sense of safety not only allowed Miyu to sleep deeply, but also made the owner's eyes grow heavy. She allowed her body to sink into the stillness, not resisting the drowsiness, because she knew that tonight, in the small wooden house in the autumn forest, everything was peaceful enough that nothing could disturb her rest. And so, within the warmth of the blanket, the fireplace, Miyu's breathing, and the rain on the roof, the autumn evening became a perfect moment, a moment in which safety needed no words, because it was already written in every soft, slow breath of the little cat sleeping beside her. In the gentle warmth of the wooden house, when Miyu had already sunk into deep sleep with breaths soft like small waves, the narrator began to speak, slowly and tenderly, as if sitting right beside the listener, only a few breaths away. Now, as Miyu drifts into sleep, you can also let go. Those words floated through the room like a thin ribbon of silk, touching the air and dissolving into an invisible calm that wrapped every small corner. The fireplace still burned softly, its orange light reflecting on the wooden surfaces, making it feel as though the entire room was breathing with the listener, with Miyu, and with the autumn night. Outside, the steady rain continued tapping on the wooden roof. Not fast, not slow, just enough to remind that the night sky was close, like a large blanket stretched over the whole forest. The narrator let their voice blend into the sound of the rain. The wind outside will watch over your dreams. And in truth, the autumn wind at night no longer carried sharp cold, but softened, becoming gentle, brushing past the porch, like a quiet friend watching over from afar, ensuring everything inside the house stayed peaceful. The remaining golden leaves on the branches trembled softly when the wind passed, creating a whisper-like rustling. Miyu shifted slightly at the sound of the wind, but quickly sank into deeper sleep. Again, ears relaxed, breath steady like the lullaby of the night, the narrator continued in the glow of the fire. The wooden house will keep you warm. And indeed, every wooden wall of the house seemed to hold all the warmth from the afternoon until this very moment. It allowed no wind to slip in, no cold to touch the air inside. The warm scent of pine wood, the scent of wool, and the faint trace of chamomile tea still lingering blended together into a soft fragrance that made anyone want to pull the blanket closer, embracing the comfort the house offered. The firelight continued to dance across the walls. "And the firelight will lull you gently," the narrator whispered, as though afraid to disturb the quiet settling over the room. Each spark flared and fell, glowing and softening, creating a slow rhythm of light, never hurried. Those warm flickers brushed across the listener's face, across the wool blanket, across Miyu's fur, making everything drift into one another, blending into a soft golden haze. Miyu lay curled up, its tail slightly twitching as it felt the warmth from the fire settle into the rug. The narrator observed this image, gathering more peace to place into their voice. Outside, the rain grew lighter, as if the sky, too, was getting sleepy. Each drop landed gently and precisely on the roof, forming the sound tap, 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 like the heartbeat of the night. Then the water slid along the roof, dripping down the edges of the wood in thin streams, creating a quiet, stream-like sound, peaceful and steady. The narrator let those sounds fill the spaces between each sentence. You can close your eyes and let your body find its own comfort. The air inside was warm enough that a slight tilt of the head on the pillow made the entire body relax. The listener's breath began to slow, bit by bit, as it aligned with the rhythm of the rain, the wind, the firelight, and Miu's soft, steady breathing. The narrator did not push, only guided, their voice never pressing, never instructing too firmly, just suggesting, gently, you don't need to think, you don't need to try to relax. Just allow yourself to let go, the way Miu is sleeping now. The owner still on the rocking chair shifted slightly, creating a slow rocking motion. The chair creaked in such a soft sound, it nearly blended into the rain. Miu's ears twitched at the noise, then settled again as it sank deeper into sleep, legs tucked closer, breathing like a tiny miracle. The fireplace continued spreading warmth across the room, making everything slow. The narrator looked toward the fogged window, toward the dark forest beyond, toward the fire's soft glow, then let their voice grow as gentle as silk. If you notice, you may feel your body getting lighter, your breath becoming deeper, and your mind growing quieter. Each word passed like wind drifting over a roof, leaving no trace, only sensation. Tonight, the wind will keep the forest asleep. The rain will lull the roof. The fireplace will hold the room in warm light. And Miu will sleep beside you with all the small, tender peace the little cat has to give. The narrator lowered their voice to almost a breath. You only need to rest and let sleep come in its own way. Miu breathed softly. The fire crackled faintly. The wind was gentle. And so, in the wooden house in the forest, the listener slowly let their eyelids grow heavy, their heart loosen, their body soften, in the absolute safety the tender autumn night wrapped around them.